All right, if you take your Bibles, go to the book of Proverbs, chapter 27. I'm filming this on a day in mid to late April when it was snowing outside, which is just insane. So, welcome to Michigan, I suppose, but thankful for, heating and air conditioning and, all the different tools that we need to use in April in Michigan. Looking forward to summer, but for now we're in what Michigan calls spring. Okay, but Proverbs chapter 27, I want to look at one verse and just give a real quick thought to you, just a verse that has been a help to me for the last few years. Proverbs chapter 27, verse number 7. This is a fun verse. It says this. It says, "The full soul loatheth an honeycomb, but to the hungry soul every bitter thing is sweet." Have you been in both of those states? Where you were so hungry that anything tasted good. I remember there was a time in Bible college where, and I can share the story because I'll explain here in a second, but I fasted for 4 days. Now, before you get ahead of the story and start thinking, wow, Brother Will is so spiritual, it was kind of on a dare and a bet, and I bet a guy that I was roommates with that I could fast longer than he could. So, as you can imagine, this isn't a story I don't mind sharing because this isn't building myself up in any way. This was a foolish time. But I did. I fasted for 4 days just so I could fast longer than a guy I was roommates with. So I didn't eat anything for 4 days. Can I tell you something? I was starving. And I remember I had a Uncrustable in the fridge. Some of you know what that is. It's like the prepackaged peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. Now, if you would tell me at some point in my life I would eat an Uncrustable and that would be the best tasting thing I've ever put in my mouth, I probably would have laughed at you. But can I tell you, after 4 days of not eating anything, that Uncrustable tasted like manna from heaven. That tasted like the absolute best thing in the world in that moment because I was so hungry. I just wanted food so bad. And maybe you've been on the other side of that coin, where maybe you ate at a Golden Corral or a Fogo de Chao, and you ate and ate and ate and ate until you should have stopped, and then you ate some more, and then you ate a little bit more, and then you're full to bursting, and then you had dessert, and you didn't even want to look at food, you didn't even want to think about food, you just were so done with food that nothing could sound good. Somebody at that point could offer you your favorite food in the world, and you would say no because you were just absolutely full. And this verse here, it's really just talking about the idea of moderation. That even good things, seem, worthless or less worthwhile than they actually are if we're full on something else. And things that really even aren't that great seem awesome when we're hungry for it and wanting it desperately. I just think about this verse just in our current situation. And I know if you're like me, that we're spending a lot more time than we normally do, on social media and watching videos and, on watching the television and playing games and whatnot. And certainly this verse could apply to a lot of things. Moderation even in eating. Don't eat so much garbage that you don't want good, healthy stuff. I know that applies to me right now in this quarantine too. It can apply to things like making sure that you have, good friends that actually, matter of surround yourself with so many people that you can't see the value of a good, close friend. And you could talk about marriage, you could talk about a ton of things where moderation is so helpful, and remembering what's important and what's really healthy and helpful is good. But I just had the quick thought that I just wanted to share with you, just a quick challenge, that don't overwhelm yourself with so much content and so many television shows and movies and whatnot, that maybe church services and the live stream on Sunday and Sunday night service and Wednesday night service and the prayer time at Pastor Brent's house after that become cliche and less valuable. I know at times even we've turned on the church service and watched it, and then watched other stuff all afternoon, and then the Sunday night service comes, and we're ready for church service, but it can even get to a point though where you're filling up on so much other stuff that church service might become less helpful than it ought to be for you, less special maybe than it should be when it kind of blends in with all the other content that we might be consuming. So I just want to challenge you. Maybe it's, just turning off the TV for an hour or so before a church service. Maybe it's, playing a little less games or something leading up to a church service, and that way you're more ready for it. You're more hungry for that church service. Maybe this is just me. Maybe I'm preaching to myself here, but I know that if I take in too much content, the church service might become less special to me, and the church videos, and the Sunday morning, Sunday night, Wednesday night, and those are things that ought to be special. Those are things that our soul needs to long after and desire, that should be considered a sweet thing to us. And I just want to challenge you, church family, be careful about how much content we're consuming, and maybe reserve those times to keep the church service special. I know this is a super specific little challenge to you this morning, and again, maybe I'm preaching to myself, but I know that I want to make sure that the church services and church videos and things that need to be special are special. I want to take measures and precautions to keep them that way.